Fuck, okay. I haven't done this in a while. Now, I know a lot of reviews of Minus One have been comparing it to the Monsterverse catalog, and the response to such reviews have been extremely toxic, claiming it's so unnecessary or it deludes Minus One's attention. Or from what I've seen, some Godzilla fans are becoming the thing they despise. The way they speak about the Monsterverse is eerily similar to the dismissive and ignorant way people would trash the Toho classics. They're dumb, watch a real film, childish. It's what I heard all my life and now from fans. Sad. What? Does anyone nowadays not have any self-awareness or common sense about the things they love? Also, here's a big point. All comparisons and criticisms of the Monsterverse are completely valid. Whether you agree with them or not, whether they're casual, from an outside point of view, whatever, get over it. Now, I may or may not give Minus One its own review separate from this comparison, as it does deserve that, and its Academy Award. Fuck yeah. Godzilla Minus One, from the level of sheer quality and filmmaking that was put into this masterpiece, puts every single Monsterverse film to shame. Minus One, along with many other Godzilla films in the past, prove that you can have a great Godzilla movie with compelling characters and a streamlined, well-written story. Literally storytelling 101. Minus One will get its own video someday. Maybe. I don't know. But it is without a doubt a 10 out of 10 A+ movie. Alright, I've seen the mass majority of the Godzilla community whine about how people compare Minus One to the Monsterverse and how the Monsterverse is bad and how Godzilla Minus One puts Hollywood to shame and blah blah blah. Well, it does. Now let me make it crystal clear for all the viewers watching this video so I don't have a mob of man-children throwing their shit at me. There is a clear, distinctive difference between enjoyment and the quality of something. You can enjoy the Monsterverse and whatever Godzilla media you prefer, just like how I can.
That's a lot of fish.
But the quality of those mediums will say otherwise. So, to put it shortly, I do not give a shit if anyone's tired of the Monsterverse bad comparisons. I've been doing this inconsistently for 4 years now. Those reviews are dated and rushed, but the point still stands. I do want to make this point clear, though. Something I've seen too many Godzilla fans do is compare the Monsterverse to the Showa series, which, to be fair, is a valid comparison, but it's for all the wrong reasons. The Showa era only exists for these purposes. 1. Financial gain and to make money. Toho saw the potential with Godzilla and immediately ran with it. And of course, the quality shows with their very next film that was released not even like a year later. They also kept it running for so long so they could financially stay afloat until they no longer could. Because time changes, and if you don't evolve with what's working, you're not going to make it. 2. Expand Godzilla into a broader audience. Godzilla was never going to stick if they just continued to be serious allegorical films like the 1954 film. They had to bring Godzilla out to women and children so they could make more money, and as an award for doing so, make Godzilla recognizable. It's extremely evident that the later films were all made with the intended purpose of appealing towards children. Nowadays, kids don't give a shit about the big monster anymore, so you've got to do more than just that. These points are the reason why the Showa era is overly goofy, much more lighthearted, action-oriented, monster-focused, tonally different when compared to where the original Godzilla started, and of course can get away with stuff like this. Toho made a decision to make more movies, not only for Godzilla to survive and keep going, but also to stay financially stable, as I already said. A lot of fans seem to forget Toho didn't just do Godzilla. It's off topic, but they did other movies with Mothra, Varan, Rodan, the Gargantuans, and so many others. And for each of these original monster films they did, they gave them actual stories to tell with themes and what they're actually about than just giant monster punches another giant monster or monster appears to destroy a city. So what's the problem here? Timing, the fact that the Monsterverse can be better than the Showa era, and that it shouldn't copy from it. Timing because the Monsterverse is still going when we're just getting over the cinematic universe idea in superhero films, which the new Empire seems to be moving towards, unfortunately. And let me make another point. Before we ever had Godzilla become mainstream, or even before 1998, nobody took Godzilla seriously because of the Showa series. Also, after the Showa series ended, Toho tried to distance themselves from it by making Godzilla more serious with their later films in both the Heisei and Millennium series. Not to mention, one of the guidelines when developing 19 1998 was to not make Godzilla silly. So for the Monsterverse to copy off the Showa series, it not only deludes the meaning of Godzilla, but it also deludes any chance for people to give a shit. The fan base will forever be there, but it will never be enough. The Monsterverse should be more than just a big monster fighting another monster and constant lighthearted bloat. Pacific Rim did that with its sequel, and look how that turned out, which is exactly what I personally fear what will happen with the new Empire. The Monsterverse needs to learn from -1 on how to execute its characters, because regardless of how well the actors perform, the audience is not going to give a shit if they're just wandering morons or just outright bland. Another issue is the fact that the first two, not just a one-and-done first film, the first two movies set this world as a what-if monsters actually existed in our real world. That was the selling point that they should have continued with, because it gives you restrictions to be more creative and expand upon how giant monsters actually fit into this real world. But nah, let's just have fucking portals that go into other realms, giant, highly advanced facilities built within 5 fucking years, or gravity-defiant vehicles that can just fly the fuck around. Remember when Monarch was on the verge of getting shut down twice at that, and they only utilized electric fences to maintain one Muto? Alright, I'm getting sidetracked now. Point being, the Monsterverse has poor writing and uncreative at times. Looking at you, Dotery. It has too many inconsistent tone shifts between movies. The characters are all uninteresting and only serve as a crutch to get to the monster fight, or serve to pull up any exposition out of their ass. Lastly, there's no plan, or one continuous streamlined story. A good example I can think of the Monsterverse could have followed was the animated series with Heat and Godzilla. Godzilla bonding to Titopolis was a smart decision to balance the monsters and characters. Now, Godzilla is extremely versatile and can in fact be used in many other ways, but how he is utilized needs to be executed properly and in an interesting manner. Godzilla -1 blows that point out of the fucking water with a great human story and a great Godzilla plotline that connects to it. The story is what matters the most and what the film is all about. The Monsterverse isn't about anything. There's barely a story to tell that's just not surface level structuring. There's an extreme lack of substance. -1 is about survival, learning to overcome PTSD, and also critiquing Imperial Japan. The Monsterverse at a bare minimum is about what exactly? 2014 isn't even about Godzilla. It's about the Mutos and following forward around wherever he went. Skull Island is about revenge, I guess. King of the Monsters is about, what, global warming? Oh, fucking God. And what the hell is Godzilla vs. Kong about? There's no substance. Godzilla's meant to be this alpha titan and protector of Earth, and the filmmakers purely want to focus on the monsters, which is what everyone wants to if we're being honest. However, the issue is they don't even go further into that. They say they want to treat them like characters, then do it. The closest they've gotten was with Kong, and they cheated their way with them by giving him the ability to understand sign language. Godzilla and, even Rodan, Mothra, and Ghidorah get none of that. Godzilla is just used as a tool in every single Monsterverse movie, and the other big three are just obstacles that only get explained through fucking slideshows and poorly photoshopped cave drawings. Where's the characterization in any of those? It's absolutely lazy and also insulting to the original monsters. Alright, I think I rambled enough. The issue isn't the Monsterverse can't be like the Showa era. The issue is that it shouldn't. It should be better than that. It should even be better than whatever the fuck Marvel or DC is doing. The Monsterverse ultimately needs to drastically change if it wants to keep going, and put in the effort to write better stories for these movies rather than just churning them out like a product. And of course, only catering towards one fucking criticism from 2014 about there not being enough monsters. -1 was a wake-up call that this is the movie everyone wants to see and can walk out of the theater thinking about it for years to come and wanting to go see it again. Timeless themes and messages, creative writing and direction, and a movie that is about more than just the monster. The success of -1 shows. The Monsterverse doesn't have that, and people will forget about these movies as nothing more than just bloated, high-budget wrestling matches. I don't want any of these movies to fail, and I love that Godzilla is more mainstream and recognizable, but I want the Monsterverse to be better than just the same tone-deaf garbage that amounts to nothing more than just an easy-to-access video montage of monster action. There is some good in these movies, but nobody wants to dig through a bloated slop to get to it. Overall, to summarize, so nobody has to dig through my rambling, the Monsterverse shouldn't be like the Showa films because it should be better than that, and it should learn from -1's success in filmmaking and storytelling. Alright, that's enough for me. That's my 2 fucking cents. I just think this whole thing is fucking stupid, and people reacting the way they do is absolutely toxic. And the same thing happened back in 2019 when people we're calling King of the Monsters a terrible movie, which it fucking is. Anyway, I'll catch you crazy fuckers later. I have work to do.